Hello everyone. Today we're going to be analyzing proofs 6 through 10 of Eric Dubay's 200 proofs that the Earth is not a spinning ball. Alright, let's get started.
200 Proofs Earth is Not a Spinning Ball by Eric Dubay. 6. If Earth were a ball 25,000 miles in circumference, as NASA and modern astronomy claim, spherical trigonometry dictates the surface of all standing water must curve downward an easily measurable 8 inches per mile, multiplied by the square of the distance. This means, along a 6-mile channel of standing water, the Earth would dip 6 feet on either end from the central peak. Every time such experiments have been conducted, however, standing water has proven to be perfectly level.
Okay, let's start at the end of that. Standing water is perfectly level. Yes, that is correct. However, if you remember, level and flat do not mean the same thing. Level means all points on the surface of the water are equidistant from the center of gravity of the Earth. Flat means flat. Mr. Dubay would like us to think that they are the same thing. They are not. The video references this picture, but I'm not sure the math is quite right. I'm coming out with some slightly different numbers. If you listen to the formula he quoted, he actually cubes the distance. He mentions the distance in miles times 8 inches times the square of the distance. The term for distance occurs 3 times in that, which means it's cubed. That's wrong. Although it makes Mr. Dubay sound all science-y to make reference to the term spherical trigonometry, one need not use spherical trigonometry to come out with results for this particular issue. Since we're talking about the straight line drop, you really only need to deal with the much simpler math that addresses circles. This table shows more accurately the drops seen at various distances. Eric says that this drop should be easily measurable, and then goes on to state that experiments have shown that it isn't. He is, of course, referring to the famed Bedford level experiments. I'll put a link down below in the description for that so you can take a look for yourself. Suffice to say, observation and measurement does show the predicted amount of curvature.
7. Surveyors, engineers, and architects are never required to factor the supposed curvature of the Earth into their projects. Canals, railways, bridges, and tunnels, for example, are always cut and laid horizontally, often over hundreds of miles without any allowance for curvature.
This is, of course, a lie. It's citing just one example. The Lake Pontchartrain Causeway is 24 miles long and had to be built to account for the Earth's curvature. As an aside, usually you can't see the other shore when you get on it. I'll also include a link to a documentary on this causeway in the description.
8. The Suez Canal, connecting the Mediterranean with the Red Sea, is 100 miles long without any locks, making the water an uninterrupted continuation of the two seas. When constructed, the Earth's supposed curvature was not taken into account. It was dug along a horizontal datum line, 26 feet below sea level, passing through several lakes from one sea to the other, with the datum line and the water's surface running perfectly parallel over the 100 miles.
This one's just silly. When the canal was dug, it was dug so that the base of the canal was a consistent distance below sea level for its entire distance. In other words, they had to dig deep at times.
9. Engineer W. Winkler was published in the Earth Review regarding the Earth's supposed curvature, stating, "As an engineer of many years' standing, I saw that this absurd allowance is only permitted in school books. No engineer would dream of allowing anything of the kind. I have projected many miles of railways and many more of canals, and the allowance has not even been thought of, much less allowed for. This allowance for curvature means this, that it is 8 inches for the first mile of a canal and increasing at the ratio by the square of the distance in miles. Thus a small navigable canal for boats, say 30 miles long, will have, by the above rule, an allowance for curvature of 600 feet. Think of that, and then please credit engineers as not being quite such fools. Nothing of the sort is allowed. We no more think of allowing 600 feet for a line of 30 miles of railway or canal than of wasting our time trying to square the circle.
Well, first, I'm not convinced that W. Winkler actually existed. I can find no reference to his existence anywhere except on flat earther sites. And secondly, a railroad engineer is more concerned with the contours of the terrain they're going over, not the curvature of the Earth, which is relatively large and not particularly significant. And third, we just made reference to the Lake Pontchartrain Causeway, in which the engineers did have to take the curvature of the Earth into account. Am I the only one noticing a hint of dishonesty here?
10. The London and North Western Railway forms a straight line 180 miles long between London and Liverpool. The railroad's highest point midway at Birmingham Station is only 240 feet above sea level. If the world were actually a globe, however, curving 8 inches per mile squared, the 180-mile stretch of rail would form an arc with the center point at Birmingham raised over a mile, a full 5,400 feet above London and Liverpool.
Here we have yet another example of Mr. Dubay either not understanding or willfully distorting the difference between flat and level. You've heard me say this before. Here's a flat line between two places on the globe, and here's a level line between two places on the globe. Flat, level. Getting flat earthers to understand this one basic concept would go a long way towards ending this alleged controversy. Alright, well that pretty much wraps it up for this episode's 5 Proofs Disproven. I'd like to thank you all for watching, and if you like what we're doing here at Science Denier Hall of Shame, I would ask that you subscribe and share these videos with as many people as possible so we can get the word out. See you next time.